Good morning, students. This is the revision video of the chapter Power Sharing, and this is the first revision video of this chapter. In this particular chapter, we'll discuss that why power sharing is very essential in a democratic country. Thereafter, we'll go through two important case studies of Sri Lanka and Belgium, and we will try to analyze that why power sharing is essential, why power sharing is very important in democratic countries as well as in non-democratic countries. So let us discuss this chapter in detail. Power sharing, why it is necessary, why it is essential. We need to understand that in a democratic countries, different communities are living together, they are working together, and they are settling together. And conflict is bound to happen among these different groups. If power sharing will not be done, then it may lead to further tension or conflict among the social members. So that is why the power sharing is the most important element of the present democratic society. Let us discuss in the context of Sri Lanka and Belgium. Power sharing in Sri Lanka and Belgium. So let us discuss the two countries and we'll try to understand how power sharing plays a very important role in both the countries. Now we are going to talk about the Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is an island country, and after 1948 it adopted a government that was based on majority. And finally, through that government, the Sinhalas rules were established in the country. Two important groups were there inside the Sri Lanka. One was Sinhala group, other was Tamil group. But finally in 1948 it was adopted that Sinhala community will overrule, it will dominate the country. And further, in order to boost this, in 1956 an act was passed to recognize Sinhala as the only official language. So we need to understand here that two important groups were present in the Sri Lanka. One was Sinhala speaking, other was Tamil speaking group. And through the act of parliament, the Sinhala group was given, or the Sinhala speaking group was given preference over the Tamils. And this is how the conflict started, this is how the tension started in Sri Lanka. Now, what was the role of majoritarianism in Sri Lanka? So we need to understand here that in 1856 an act was passed which recognized Sinhala as the only official language. So basically the Tamil language or Tamil speakers were ignored and Sinhalas were given importance. They were recognized as the official language. Sinhala speakers were preferred both for university positions and government jobs. And over the time, the jobs were reserved. Jobs were exclusively given to the Sinhala people or Sinhala speaking people. So we need to understand here that discrimination was going on in the country, and discrimination started on the basis of language. Sinhala speaking people were recognized as the superior class, whereas Tamil speaking people were recognized as the inferior class, and importance was given to the Sinhalas over the Tamils. So this created further tension, this created further difference, or this created further a much complicated situation that is termed as civil war. So we need to understand here that finally the government was formed in Sri Lanka and that was based on majority. Now what was the reason? Reason is very clear that there was a dominance of Sinhala's community due to majority. As they were in majority, so they were easily dominating the country. So there was a domination of majority group in Sri Lanka. And further it got approval also from the parliament through the act. In 1956 the act was passed, and through this act the Sinhalas was declared as the only official language. Now thereafter, preferential policies favoring Sinhalas in universities, positions and jobs. And further, the most important thing, the religion was also given importance. Sinhalas were worshipping Buddhism. They were following the Buddhism religion. So in order to foster Buddhism was declared as the official religion also. So we need to understand here that completely inclination of the government was there towards the Sinhala's government or towards the Sinhala's community. So Sinhala's community got the chance to form the government also, and they started ruling the entire country. Although demands started from the Tamils to establish or to give them some part of the Sri Lanka, but it was ignored. So finally we can see that there is a lack of power sharing in Sri Lanka. Only one community was holding all the power, and the other group, that was Tamil group, was ignored. It was devoid of power. So here power sharing was not done. Now let us discuss another case study. We are going to discuss another country, that is Belgium. It is also an European country, and we need to understand that in Belgium, ethnic composition was quite different from other countries. So what was the ethnic composition? Let us discuss. Two important regions were there inside the country. One was the Flemish region, other was the Wallonia. In the Flemish region, 59% Dutch were there, and in the Wallonia region, 40% French rich and powerful people were there. So all over the country, if we are going to analyze the overall picture of the country, Dutch were in majority, whereas French were in minority. But in the capital of Belgium, opposite figure was there. It means that in the Brussels, that was the capital of Belgium, 80% French were there and 20% Dutch were there. It means that the French were in majority in only capital, but in rest of the country they were in minority. So this was the quite opposite picture. We need to understand again that overall in the whole country, Dutch were in majority and French were in minority, whereas in the capital only French were in majority 80% and Dutch were in minority. So this was the picture, and because in the capital the French were in majority, they started ruling the entire country. So despite the Dutch were in majority, the power was in the hand of French community. 1% was also there. 1% belonged to German community, a German speaking people. But overall, only two major groups were there inside the country. One was French speaking, other was Dutch speaking community. Now we need to understand here that how the power sharing was done, because we already saw in case of Sri Lanka that power sharing was not done, but in Belgium the case was quite reversed. The case was quite different. Here the power sharing was done among different communities. Now a constitution was adopted or a final settlement was made, and through this the power sharing was done between the two countries. Here it is written that equal number of ministers from Dutch and French speaking areas enter central government. So central government was formed, and in that government equal representation was there from the Dutch and French speaking population. No single community can make decision unilaterally. It was decided that no single community could make the decision unilaterally or alone. Transfer of power from the central to the state. State government will not be the subordinate to the center. Here federal system was adopted in which the power was transferred from the central to the state government. So here we can see in terms of government also the power was shared from the central to the state government, and among the communities also the power was shared between the Dutch speaking and French speaking. Apart from that, separate government in Brussels with equal representation, the French and the Dutch. We need to understand here that in the capital a separate government was formed with equal representation from both the community. And finally, formation of community government. The third type of government was also formed, that was the community government, and basically it was the language community. It was formed to take care of the different language and culture of different communities. And further, this government was given the responsibility to raise questions related to the language, education and culture. Now, let us discuss after analyzing both the countries, Belgium and Sri Lanka. So, what we discussed so far? We discussed that in Sri Lanka and in Belgium, both countries were democracy. In both countries, democracies were in practice. So, what was the difference? The difference was only that power sharing arrangement was different. It means that in Sri Lanka, the power sharing was done or not done. It was not done. But in case of Belgium, power sharing was done. And what is unique about Belgium? We all know that in Belgium, the people who were in majority, they were not ruling the country. But in Sri Lanka, people who were in majority were ruling the country. So leaders have realized that unity of the country is possible only by respecting the feelings and interests of different communities and regions. And that is why power sharing is essential. Without power sharing, we cannot sustain, we cannot expect for peace in the country. And that happened inside the Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, Because of lack of power sharing, ultimately civil war started. But in case of Belgium, everything solved very peacefully and no one raised any issue after that when power sharing was done among different communities. So this is all about the case study, and we understood the power sharing and why power sharing is essential. So thank you so much.